morning, everyone. We are in Kalymnos. We've been here for a couple of days, kind of hiding out from the Meltemi. We went to bed last night saying we're going to stay for another couple of days, and then when we got up this morning we checked the weather and we're like, we could leave today probably. Might be a bit of a lively sail, but it's downwind, and we are going to Simi, which if you look at the wind map, it's kind of in the lee of like one of the peninsulas in Turkey, so it looks like it's quite well protected from the Meltemi. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that we've decided to leave. We were just over coffee and we're like, actually, let's just go. We're going to drop our lines. We're attached to a mooring board. But this bay is beautiful, absolutely stunning. Do you want me to go forward? Got a bit of a beam on swell, but a downwind sail. Current wind angle of 150.
Good morning, Ruby Roses. Sunday morning. Sunday morning we're going to have a rolly passage today. Yesterday we spent the day hiding from the Meltemi. We got up to what, 24, 25 knots I think we saw inside what is possibly the most protected anchorage I've ever been in. It was kind of like, yeah, better than the hurricane holes in the Caribbean. Like literally closed by rock on from 360 degrees, no transit out. But this morning we've woken up to essentially 14 knots of wind, and that's great. It's great for sailing. However, swell takes 24 hours to die after wind, so we have a bit of a rolly sea, and it's coming at us at about 100 degrees, which basically means we are sailing at 155, almost downwind, but the swell is coming across us just at about 100, which essentially creates a pain in the ass, because the problem with sailing downwind is that unless you goose swing your jib out, you are blanketing it. So the jib track is like scooting back and forth and annoying me. And the other thing is, for those of you sailing, well, change course, I can't. We're sailing between islands. And that also means that I don't want to lock off the track, because if you've seen the previous episodes, sailing between islands, when you get near the peninsulas or the capes, you get invariably a wind shift and probably a 10 knot wind increase. So I want everything available to furl or to reef or to kind of like change position very, very quickly. So we've got this kind of going on. But anyway, Sunday morning, we actually weren't going to leave today. I had no intention of leaving, but the Admiral's like, well, are we leaving? And I'm like, well, how far have we got to go today? And she's like, 55 miles. 55 miles is not a long day on this boat. You really want to be tied up and anchored by 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. One, because the winds genuinely pick up around then, and you are looking like a significant wind increases, which makes tying up more difficult, but also everyone else tends to come in then as well. And so space can be a premium, and to get a good anchoring spot, yeah, we have a rule that we try and get tied up by early afternoon, just after lunch is an ideal. Find an anchorage in Simi, bed down for the night, and then head off to Rhodes tomorrow morning.
We filled the jib away. There was a problem with the shackle. The pin came out. Nick just saw the foot of the jib just like flapping around, and we're like, oh god. He had a spare shackle, so he just swapped the pins over. If we were committed to this wind angle, this course for, I don't know, hundreds of miles, then we'd probably put a preventer on the main, not pole out the jib, but and goose wing the boat and kind of try and set the jib up on the opposite side and sail goose wing. So that's probably what we'd do if we were committed to this for the long haul. So there is a way, or fly the spinnaker of course, but it's a little bit windy for us to comfortably do that. We are on a much more comfortable point of sail now. When we left the anchorage this morning, we had a beam swell and it was a bit unpleasant. Nick's like, quick, make me some breakfast because I don't feel the best right now. just as we've moved away from the island, the direction of the swell has just shifted around slightly and it's now coming directly from behind us, which is lovely. And yeah, we're just making our way down to Simi. It's a 65-mile day. The sun is out and shining, which is delightful. It's not too windy. Another downwind sail in the Med. Very, very pleasant. And you know, so far, sailing in the Med has been an absolute joy. We've had some cracking sails, we really have.
Oh, just a little update from the bridge deck. It is 9:30. That is the island of Kos. That is the land of Turkey. Anyway, what am I doing? Well, we're anchoring tonight, and so I probably won't go ashore, which basically means I'm preparing dinner. So I have some cubed chicken, some garlic, lemon, sriracha, and put some olive oil in there, and just kind of marinate it over the course of the day. We get some marinated chicken, I'll put on the skewers, make some flatbreads, get some little salad going. So salad, grilled chicken, flatbread. We've got some tzatziki, and yeah, that's gonna be a dinner tonight. So yeah, barbecue chicken. There's a lot of marine traffic out here. A lot of marine traffic. There's a lot of pleasure boats. It's Sunday, and because this gap between Turkey over there and Kos over there is probably 1-2 nautical miles, there's a lot of pretty small craft just zipping over there, and ferries and everything else. So we got to keep a watch and yeah, understand our coal rigs, and also understand that other people may not know their coal rigs.
The temperature has increased by like a solid 5 degrees. It's kind of crazy. As soon as we ran a Kos, which is just behind me, 1 minute the wind was cool, and the next minute, just like that, there was like this gust of warm air, and it's quite amazing. I think that looking at the temperature map on Windy, you can kind of see that the further north you go, the cooler it is, and obviously the further south you go, the warmer it is. We're about 20 miles away from Simi. The Turkish Coast Guard just came to say hello. They came up right behind the boat. Obviously I didn't film it. And just checked us out. We had the radio on. They didn't hail us on the radio. We waved at them. And then after a couple of minutes of being quite close, they just turned around and sped off. We are in Turkish waters. Because, you know, when you're sailing between some Greek islands, I wouldn't say it's impossible not to enter Turkish waters. Of course you can go the long way around, but it's impractical. Simi, as you can see on a map right now, is literally in the middle of a Turkish peninsula, or a big Turkish bay. So there's not much choice but to enter Turkish waters if you're trying to get to Simi. But anyway, we're very happy to be on the water, happy to be making progress. Nick's very happy that it's warm. So yeah, another beautiful day sailing around Greece. It's just, we feel very lucky to be here. Almost at Simi. Yep. Anchored up in Simi. We had to do it twice because we were just way too close to another catamaran the first time. We were inconsiderately close, inconsiderately. How the heck do you say that word? Say that to me again? Inconsiderately. Inconsiderately. We were inconsiderately close. Why couldn't I say that? No, it's not. Anyway, to another catamaran.
If it had been me and the Fontaine Project, I would have been pissed.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the yardstick. Like, would I be super pissed? Yes. But anyway, so we moved to a much better spot. Nick was right, we should have anchored here to begin with. I was the one that took us over there. And we are kind of just on the edge of the anchorage. The ferry has left. I was worried about the ferry being in the way of the ferry. The ferry's left for the night, not coming back. So yeah, we just have this beautiful monastery to stare at all evening. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm about to have a look to see what time it closes because I'd like to go and have a look at it. And I'd also like to go for a little walk later when the sun goes down a bit and it's not quite so hot. Alright, Skipper?
Yeah.
Happy to be here?
This is beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, really nice.
It is beautiful.
It's 20 to 5 and the anchorage is definitely starting to fill up. When we got here, we were the 6th boat. And now I think there's about 9 boats and a 10th has just arrived. And it's so funny, and I think Nick and I are very conservative when it comes to our sailing and our boating and everything we do with the boat. But when we arrived at this anchorage, and I know we have a bigger boat than most of these boats who are anchored here, but when we arrived here, we were like, there's really not that much room. All these other boats come in and they just plop themselves down and they all find a space. And I always find it so interesting that Nick and I are like, no, there's not enough room. We'll leave, we'll go somewhere else, we'll find another option. And then we sit here and we're like, everyone else manages to fit in. But I guess my whole point is that attitudes vary considerably amongst sailors, especially when it comes to anchoring and how close is too close and is there room and how much chain do I put out. And yeah, different people and different sailors have different tolerances for that kind of thing, and it obviously comes down to the boat that they're on as well.
It's not St. Patrick's Day. Terysa just decided to dress like an elf today. Oh!
I think you'll find it's called tonal dressing.
Tonal dressing. I learned something new. Enjoy. We're going to have a little bit. Turkish beers outside a Greek monastery. There you go. What more could you want? Good morning, Ruby Roses. So last night we were going to go ashore, but the wind was coming straight through the entrance to this lagoon, I think is the best way to describe it, and essentially blowing onto the dinghy dock, which we saw a couple of charter boats try to moor stern to, but yeah, there was just enough of a swell for us to not want to try that. And also we saw a couple of dinghies really getting bashed against the pontoon. So last night we opted for a barbecue. We had dinner on deck, did a bit of filming, and then kind of like had a beer and called it a day. This morning we woke up to absolute flat calm, which is beautiful. The weather has passed through, and we have about, I think, 20 nautical miles to run until the tip of Rhodes. So we are going to head essentially due east, aren't we, almost? Head round the bottom of Simi and then on towards Rhodes. We are booked into Rhodes Marina. So our plan for the next week is to get to Rhodes and just throttle up a little bit. Get to Rhodes. I'm going to see my parents, and then from there we will plan some beautiful kind of like sightseeing around the anchorages of Rhodes that I've known for 25 years. So yeah, there are some beautiful places to go. It's my favourite Greek island, clearly, because my parents live there. Anchor alarm. True wind strength with 2 knots. So yeah, we're going to be motoring all the way to Rhodes, I think.
All right, we are only a few miles away from Rhodes, which is the huge island you can see behind me. It's absolutely massive. We were watching the aeroplanes land and take off at the airport, which is always fun. And the wind has picked up, so it's blowing about, I don't know, 13 knots or so. It's really nice. But we're only a few miles away from the tip of the island, and then we'll be rounding the corner and heading into the marina. So no point in putting the sails up just for 20 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
Are you excited?
It's just a very strange feeling. It's just 25 years I've waited for this.
Yeah.
I kind of think that, you know, my whole sailing career, this is what started it off. And in about, 4 miles, I literally get to the point where I decided to buy a boat. Like the physical point where I sat on the dock wall in Mandrake and thought, right, I'm going to get into sailing.
Yeah. So actually, I don't feel like we've told everyone your history with Rhodes and why this is so special.
Well, I think we may have done, but just for
Not in this episode.
well, basically, my parents bought a pile of rocks which they thought was a house about 25 years ago, in the old town of Rhodes, and they spent a few years doing it up. This is in the mid 1990s when you could buy a pile of rocks in Rhodes for probably the same cost as our chart plotter. But I came here and I would sit on the dock wall and that wall has been here for, in some cases, thousands of years. One of the 7 wonders of the world was the Colossus of Rhodes, which was legendarily meant to have stood on the entrance to Rhodes Mandrake Harbour. And I sat there and I'd come here in summer for my week's holiday and always used to watch all these little boats going in and out, and it just spiked an interest in it. I mean, aside from my kind of living next to the River Thames and living next to like the Gypsy Moth and the Terysa, you know, a T Clipper and Shay Blythe's boat that took him around the world, this was what spiked it. I literally would see people on these little sailboats going in and out or bobbing up and down in the marina and just think, this just looks amazing. Like, it does look like a really peaceful life. The sky is blue, the air is warm, the sun is in the sky, the sea is calm. Like, how good would it be to get into sailing? And then of course I bought a boat and it all went tits up because I bought it in Eastern England where the weather was always bad. But I always said to myself, one day we will come back here. One day I will come back here in my own boat. It was kind of like my big life goal. And now, yeah, I'm 5 miles away from bringing the boat into Rhodes. It's pretty special. It is pretty special for me.
It's a strange feeling to finally achieve a goal that we've had for so many years. But
I've had it for 25 years.
Yeah, that's right. And then, you know, you had it for a long time by yourself, and then when Nick and I started hatching this plan to buy a boat and go sailing, that, you know, Greece was the first place that we started talking about coming, and it was always, you know, one day we'd come here on holidays every summer and we'd always say one day we'll have our own boat here. And it, you know, I guess your dream became more solidified when we started actually planning for it.
Yeah, and actually one thing that you may remember, back in 5 years ago, 2019, we went into the French canals and we sailed back across from the Caribbean to Bermuda, the Azores, and it was possibly only, and I don't think this is hyperbolic, I kind of think it was only less than a month beforehand that we decided to go into the French canals. The other option was to come here, and I think we really kind of like, we didn't know what to do.
We agonized over that decision.
And I kind of think actually it's one of these random things. I think one of the reasons we didn't was that we just couldn't fit air conditioning on this boat, because we knew we'd have to be in marinas, and we knew that having, after that time in, was it not Valencia, where was it? Cartagena, Easter 2018, when like literally it was just insanely hot, like insanely hot, and we just, we went out and bought that ridiculous cooling thing that never really worked, and we just didn't have the space on Ruby Rose to put air conditioning in.
No.
And honestly, 25 years here, and it is getting hotter here. It is almost unbearable in August to be in Rhodes. The world's weather has changed. You know, it will be up at high 30s, early 40s here. Yep. You know, and unfortunately, these poor people over the last 5 years have had some really devastating forest fires, just because the heat has pushed past the point where it's just far more difficult now. So yeah, that was our decision. That's why we took the boat through the French canals. And honestly, I still say this because I keep getting memories popping up. 5 years on, that was, I think, the best thing that we ever did on that boat. Take it to the French canals. I'm going to go back to helming because there's a boat coming down on us.
Yeah, Ruby Rose, our monohull, was fantastic for so much, but it was really getting to the point where we needed to do a major refit if we were going to continue living on her, especially if it was somewhere that we were spending a lot of time at anchor, like Greece, because she just didn't have, the battery capacity. The solar wasn't efficient anymore. We just couldn't balance our power consumption. So even running the inverter we couldn't do, because the inverter itself took up too much of our power. So, you know, running a YouTube channel from a boat where you can't even turn the inverter on, so you can't plug your laptop in, is completely impossible. So it got to the point where we really had to consider doing a major refit, because she was 10 years old by then. A lot needed replacing and a lot needed upgrading. But at the end of the day, as you may recall if you were watching our videos back then, we really loved the idea of moving onto a catamaran, and so that was the decision that we took, to go through the French canals, because we had the boat for it, and we thought, if we don't do it now, we'll never do it. And it also had the bonus of taking us towards the UK, and we thought the UK was the best place to sell Ruby Rose because she was quite a niche boat. She wasn't like a Bavaria or something that you could sell anywhere. And that's what we did. And then we ordered Ruby Rose 2, and of course, as you know, COVID hit, and we waited a long time for this boat to be built because there were many production delays because of COVID, and also I think maybe a few other kind of issues. But anyway, finally we're here. So all of that to say that we made it a few years later than we'd expected, but we did make it, and we are here on our beautiful, comfortable catamaran that is so easy to live on. And we've got air conditioning, which was my red line, because I'm like, I'm not precious and I don't mind roughing it, but the heat, man, the heat, I just couldn't take it. At night, you know, when you're in a marina, it's just so hot. I just was like, no, I've done this for long enough. I deserve air conditioning. We're going to get a beautiful view of the old town as we sail around the tip of the island, and we are going to go past that into the marina, stay in the marina for a few nights, explore Rhodes Old Town, which is spectacular. It is so beautiful. I can't wait to show you guys. So we're going to stay in the marina for a few nights, and then mainly because there aren't any decent anchorage, like, yeah, the anchorages near the old town are not ideal. And then we're going to explore the island by boat. So we're going to go south to Calathea and to Lindos and explore some of our places by boat. And then we'll come back to the old town. We've got a booking for a couple of nights in Mandrake Harbour in the town, kind of on the town dock, which is where all the action is, all the excitement. Can't wait to be there. It's going to probably be quite hectic, but hopefully in a good way. And then we move back on. We move on to somewhere else. So we've got a really exciting time ahead of us, and I can't wait to bring you guys along for the ride.
But we are now tied up in Rhodes Marina, expecting slime lines. They actually gave us a port side 2 berth, which is fantastic because I can see my parents, and my parents are not the most able-bodied people, so being able to climb up is really good for us. The docking, I don't think we filmed it, was pretty damn sketchy. We've got I think we had 23 knots blowing us off the dock, and a boat right next to us, and a boat right in front of us. So we did it twice. The first time we just got blown completely off course. As we turned beam onto the wind, it just pushed everything out. We lined it up again, and by that point there was a guy in a dinghy. And what I would say to you, anyone with a catamaran that's coming into, especially a med marina where the moorings are normally slime lines, insist on a dinghy, because sometimes there's just no way of controlling these boats. Yeah. But nonetheless, we are here. We are in Rhodes. It's taken me 25 years to get here by boat. I'm very, very pleased. It was very beautiful to see all this. And I think now it's 11:30. I think we're going to meet my parents. Surprise my parents.
Nick's parents think that we're still in Simi. But Nick's parents, being the people that they are, we know exactly where they'll be at 12 p.m. because they're in the same place at 12 p.m. every single day. They're people of habit.
Actually, they said they're not going today.
Oh, you're kidding me. Jesus, the one time in 20 years where they don't go. So what, they're staying at home?
They said it's too hot.
Okay. All right, well, that's fine. We know where they live. I'm not going to film it because it's, you know, a special moment, and I don't think that we should be filming it. What do you think? No, we're not going to film it. No, we're not going to film it because it's a private moment and we just want to be able to relax and enjoy. So, and in fact, I think we're going to take the rest of the day off. I think we're going to sign out for today. Nick, any final words? We've got 1% battery.
No, I've got 1% battery as well, so you have a nice rest this afternoon. Enjoy everything, enjoy life. We'll be back tomorrow. Goodbye. I tell you, everybody's